So, Shireen, tell us how you came to found a microschool.
I feel like the micro school found me, honestly. I'm a fifth generation educator, and the same issues I heard my grandfather talking about, I heard my mother speaking about, and all my aunts. And then I experienced as a teacher. And I thought, okay, surely there has to be somewhere, some space as a teacher that I can teach at and be my best self. I tried public, I tried private, I tried Montessori, and every time I kept switching, I thought it was me. There's something wrong with me. And finally, the pandemic hit, and what ended up happening is I had some families that hired me for a pod. And I was like, it was never me. Actually, it's the whole system. I wasn't wrong to believe that young people should have agency and voice, and we should be in small groups, and we should be following the student, and that we can adapt. There was nothing wrong with me. It was actually that the system isn't built for what we need for the future, right? Traditional ed is really gearing up students to be in factories, to be working in factories with rote memorization. And I felt and knew that we needed more. And as educators, we're always looking to the future of our young people, saying, okay, what do we need to get them ready for? What else? What do we need to? We're always on the horizon taking a look at what skills. And so Colossal allowed me to really um, dive into those skills so that we're actually preparing them for a future that they are going to have to take on versus trying to like fit it into little pockets of times of little projects that we can get in. The whole model itself is aligning them with being ready for a future.
So, we'll come back to the future in just a minute. But I want to talk a little bit about the phenomena that we see happening in the present, which is that all the statistics I see show that a growing number of families are gravitating towards reaching for micro schools, homeschooling, virtual schooling, unschooling, everything that kind of falls under the heading of unconventional education. Do you see that to be true in your community, in your experience? And why do you think that is?
I definitely think people are kind of done with the status quo. I think COVID opened up a wonderful view into what was happening on the other side of the walls, right? I think we have gotten so complacent in just like dropping our kids off and picking them up and dropping them and only being there if there's an emergency. But that when we were able to see kind of what happens beyond like the veil of the steel walls that that separate the kids from society,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of us chose not to do that. I also think that we're deciding it's not good enough for getting them ready for the future. As a millennial, we were taught you go to school, you get good grades, you go to college, then you get a good job, right? And then you participate in society and make the best of it. That's not what happened. It was, I went to school, I tried my hardest, I was not a good student. And then I went on to college and still wasn't a good student. And then I went and got my master's, took on some debt, and did not necessarily get the job that I was supposed to get right with a master's degree and the salary that you're supposed to have with a master's degree. So we're not believing in that kind of formula anymore. And so I think they're wondering what else? What else is there out there? And we're seeing that young people are making a ton of money, right? So if the idea is that you do education to make money, they're making money. So what is education for then, right? And then redefining what education is supposed to, what meaning and place it has in our society. And I think we're all just trying to figure that out and customize it for our children.
So I know you describe yourself as an optimistic edufuturist, which I just love. And before you were saying about, all educators are futurists in some way, but you seem to have a uniquely hopeful look at what's coming down the pike and how we can meet it. Can you talk a little bit about your vision for what education could be for our kids today?
Yeah, sure. I think that education really is going to unlock a lot of potential if we're able to do it right, right? When we're leveraging AI for our best capabilities, when we're leveraging AI to figure out the grid right? So that everybody can have electricity and everybody can have water and we can have clean, potable water around the world. And when we leverage that, we're going to have more than enough. We've already entered the time of more than enough already on the planet. There's more than enough of everything at this point to make sure everybody's okay. I think we're at the stage right now of figuring out how to allocate all of that and also feel super comfortable with letting go of our gross amount of consumption in the US, right? For everybody to have enough, right? And we've passed the point in human civilization or human beings that we have enough for everybody. And now we just need to figure out how to allocate that. I'm super excited for that. And I think once people have enough, they can live and actualize. And to me, that is really exciting.
So can you say a little bit about the specific kind of skills, competencies, mindsets that you try to foster at Colossal to prepare students for that future?
Well, we have like a relationships based model. So really what we're looking at is what's our relationship with self, right? How do you see yourself? How do you feel? What's going on inside yourself? We look at relationship with peers. We look at relationship with society, with your educators, with nature, um, with your parents, right? And so all of those are a wheel in the relationship based model. But more than that, like our competencies, they have to be good at math. We have a very rigorous math calendar. We have a very rigorous literacy and numeracy we believe is going to definitely be taking us forward in the future. We're going to have to solve some problems with the earth. So we believe that being in tune with the earth is a competency moving forward. And that is non-negotiable, right? We're going to have to also be technologically understanding technology for a myriad of reasons. And the last really we focus in on is entrepreneurship, where they're actually launching businesses, but the entrepreneurial mindset of agility, of putting something out there and failing, right? Or testing the market, or you can be a social entrepreneur or a venture capitalist. Like all of these are very dynamic ways of entering entrepreneurship. And we know that that's going to be needed in the future. So I think we have to keep our eyes set on AI. I don't think that we need to eliminate it, right? I do not think that teachers are going to be replaced by AI robots, that's for sure. So much of our skill set is actually relationship based and relational, and that cannot be replaced by a robot. As optimistic as the robot builders might believe, human connection is deeply rooted in what makes us human, right? So I believe deeply in the sacredness of teaching, but that we're going to be able to leverage AI, and we need to be super competent teachers to be able to prepare our young people like we have for everything else, that we need to prepare our young people to be stewards, good stewards of AI, which means we also have to be on top of it and playing around with it and understanding it and having the safeguards so that they are practicing in a safe way.
So you're not one of those that thinks that AI is going to be the death of us all.
No, I don't. I don't think we're going to go down in some dystopic future. I do think that images and perhaps some spiritual, religious kind of ideology has shown us brimstone and fire and hell and the apocalypse, but I do not believe that that is where we're heading. I actually think that, yeah, it could be dark and then super light. I think we're going to figure out how to be maximized humans, which I think human potential is quite great.